Reverend Gregory Toole, and what a pleasure it is to be here this morning. I welcome all of you who are online. We just appreciate your presence so much, and I welcome all of you who are in person with your glowing, magnificent energy flowing forth here this morning. Good to see everyone. Let's turn within for prayer for a moment. Good morning, David. So we just turn within to remember some truth that lifts us out of anything that is unlike truth. So we remember this morning that God is all there is. One power, one life, one mind, one infinite intelligence, one infinite presence of love, wholeness, harmony, peace, and joy. This one life, this one presence, this one power, this one intelligence is that which animates everything that I am. I am that I am. I am that presence of God. That is my life. And just as this is true for me, I rejoice in knowing that it is true for everyone here, everyone listening, and everyone else, that every being everywhere is a divine expression of that one. And so each one, whole, perfect, complete. And so in this awareness, I bless our time here this morning. I know that we have come together by divine appointment. We have come together for a magnificent moment to celebrate this truth of God as the very life of all that is. And so I bless the service. I know it is so perfect. I am grateful. I let it be. And so it is. Amen. All right, well, let's see what's going on as we wind down this 2025 year. Can you believe it? Can you believe we just have literally 2 more weeks? 2 weeks from today is the last day of the year. That's amazing, huh? But here we are, and I want to invite you to silence your phones, just to have that reminder. I had to remind myself when I came up here to silence my phone. Also, so much thanks from the Women's Circle to all of you who participated in their Christmas fair and potluck. It was a great success, and if you were over there, you can tell it was a very vibrant vibe over there. So thank you to the women as well for putting that on. Vegan potluck is tonight, so if you want to really partake in some great healthy food, come join us tonight at 6 p.m. over in Richelieu Hall. Bring a vegan dish. You could go pick something up at Whole Foods, or you could just show up. We're going to have so much food. Never be deterred by the fact that you didn't have time to get anything or make anything. Like, we're going to have so much food. So show up with a dish, without a dish, doesn't matter. Your presence is what matters, and we'll have some good food and good conversation. This Friday, 6 p.m., Soundscape Orchestra holiday concert. So join us for that. Bring some water or appetizer or cookies as your price of entrance, but really there is no price of entrance. So, again, don't be deterred. Show up, enjoy. Christmas Eve candlelight service 1 week from today. Can you believe that? 1 week from today is Christmas Eve, 7 p.m. right here in the sanctuary. There won't be any 11 a.m. service that day, and there won't be any meditation that day. But heck, who needs that when you got a Christmas Eve candlelight service at 7 p.m.? That's going to be fabulous. So come join us. That's going to be so wonderful. We're going to have our choir. We're going to have me. We're going to have Elise. And lots more, and lots more. It's going to be fun. No drumming circle in December. Yoga and in-person book group will start back again on January 6th. Let's see, Wednesday Zoom meeting will resume on January 7th. So we're kind of winding down the year, as you can see. And then our office will be closed. Are you surprised that our office will be closed on Thursday, December 25th for the Christmas holiday? Don't come here on the 25th. We won't be here. Enjoy your holiday. If you are invited, this is really key today because we are getting close to the deadline for that. You are invited to purchase poinsettias, and you can go right out to the front desk after service and do that. And you can do that in the memory of someone or in honor of someone. And we have those names posted on a board out there in the lobby. And the poinsettias you get to take home after the Christmas Eve service. But before that, you will help to decorate our sanctuary, and that always looks so beautiful when we have all those poinsettias all around. So don't wait, don't hesitate. Go right out the door after service, purchase your poinsettias, and it'll be a fun time. And then coming up in 2026, guess what? Our own Elise whoa, yes, you. Our own Elise Carver will be doing a workshop on the major arcana. She'll be using tarot to help us set our intentions. We're going to catch some inspiration from Spirit for what are our intentions for this coming year. So that will be on December, I said next year, but actually it'll be December 28th, the last Sunday of the year, in preparation for next year and getting our intentions really clarified. That's going to be wonderful. I look forward to that. Flyers for all of our events can be found on the activity table. You can also see our weekly e-newsletter and our Spirit Speaks magazine. So no one has to be out of the know. You can know everything that's going on. A big thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers. We appreciate you all so much. Let's give our volunteers a hand, because you all run this place. You all run this place. Thank you so much for all that you do. Today, our speaker is the wonderful Reverend Katherine McKinney. Yay. And before we bring her forward, we're going to have a song from our fabulous lead musician, Elise Carver.
This song is called Path of Light, and it's by Katherine and Peggy Lebo. I will trust in the Spirit. I will open my heart, and I will always remember the truth of God that has brought me this far. So lead me on this path of light, and every step I take in faith leads me home to a place where all I know is love and grace. Lead me on this path of light. I'll shine a light in the darkness. I'll bring forward the truth. I will always honor the beauty and the light that I see in you. So lead me on this path of light, and every step I take in faith leads me home to a place where all I know is love and grace. Lead me on this path of light. As I breathe, I become completely one with the light and the love. Completely one. As I breathe, I become completely one with the light and the love. Completely one. Completely one. So lead me on this path of light, and every step I take in faith leads me home to a place
Thank you, Elise. You know, this last week, Elise texted me to ask me what my theme was, with the way she put it. And so I gave her my talk title, which is The Next Thing to Do. But then I felt like I had to talk about a theme. And so I said a few words. I don't remember what I said. But I was sure that in the mind of God, all of this just unfolds and that it would be lovely. And it was lovely. And I thank you so much. It was really nice. The next thing to do. The thing that I was thinking about, and I think at the time I put the words together, I was thinking of Daniel Nahmod's song where he talks about get ready and the next thing to do. And so I was thinking about the idea that I think evolved because of a dream that I had. And so the dream was something that was puzzling to me. I was not sure what it meant. Now, when you have dreams that you're vivid and that they come to you, and you try to figure out, what does that mean? And in dreams, one of the things that I understand, it's not like I'm this expert talking about this, is that in our dreams, we are all the people. And even though somebody else may say something, it's coming from us, because there's only us that's having this experience. And so it was just simply puzzling to me. And so as I was putting it together, I started thinking about what we do, what we think about, how do we process things that we don't understand, that we're not sure about. And so the whole process of that led me to a talk that really I did some time ago, but it was really the stimulus for the talk that I was thinking. Ernest Holmes, in his book, Help for Today, which is one of my favorite books of Ernest Holmes, he talks about the concept or this idea that this man named Émile Coué came to this country from France with this interesting idea. And he goes on to talk about the idea. Now, Coué actually came in 1923. Ernest Holmes says some years ago from when he was writing, but I think he was probably writing in the 40s, possibly the early 50s, when he was writing about this. So he didn't hear the man, but he quotes from, there was a lot of documentation about his coming, because by May of 23, Coué arrived in January, the Washington Post publicized that America is mesmerized with Émile Coué. And so he was bringing this philosophy of his, that his expression was, and this is what Ernest Holmes puts in all caps, every day in every way, I keep getting better and better. And so it was this affirming thought, this affirmation that Coué was essentially selling and had had great success in France. And so he was having lots of meetings. He had enough publicity that the Washington Post gave him a lot of space to talk about the 1920 thing in 1923. So that idea that Ernest Holmes was looking at more some years later, he was recognizing that Coué was onto something, because this is an attempt on our part to hypnotize ourselves into believing something different. If we want things to be better, every day and every way, I keep getting better and better. Now, Coué's trick was that you tie knots in a string. And you say this 20 times in the morning. There's 20 knots in this string. You say this 20 times in the morning and 20 times before you go to bed, every day in every way. Life keeps getting better and better. And as many times during the day as you think about it. Now, Ernest Holmes was reporting this, but he wasn't necessarily advocating it when he was talking about it, as much as he's saying that the idea behind this is really very interested and is in line with what we teach. But he also said that Coué went on to say about this country, he said, Americans think so fast, they do not consider the meaning behind their words. He was saying that because he hadn't achieved the same success with his activity as he had in France, where he had been working and had thousands and thousands of people were exclaiming their life had changed simply because of using that technique. And so Ernest Holmes is saying what he's really after and doing this affirmative thinking is that he achieving the idea of self-realization. So I think that's really what I am thinking about. How do we self-realize? And the truth of the matter is, we do it day by day by day by striving to do that. I think we can use affirmations. I think that they do work. But we also need to recognize that when we think something, I think fast. I really got hung up on that notion of Americans think so fast. They don't understand the meaning behind their words. I notice sometimes when I do the affirmations, and I've been doing some the last few days, when I get somewhere in here, I lose my thread. I'm saying the words almost automatically without not necessarily bringing consciously, and I back up, and I do it again. And maybe I'm the only one, but Coué thought Americans seem to do this more. Why he thought that, as opposed to the people in France, that's left for us to try and figure out. But I do notice, I have used the expression in my writing at times about myself, is that my thoughts gallop. I feel like they just gallop from time to time. I'll flip from thing to thing to thing. Even when I'm doing some work, they just come and come. Does anyone else have this experience of that galloping? And so this idea of focusing, I believe, is how we actually come to self-realize. Realizing, we say self-realize, what we're wanting to do. We are trying to realize the capital S of ourselves as opposed to the little s, that larger self, to bring that more and more into our conscious awareness. And this notion of being awake to what we're thinking is really what Coué was talking about. We start doing things without being awake, no matter how our intentions are. See, if there is a law of Coué, the law is that, and he quotes it, actually, I want to say that Ernest Holmes thought that Coué was important enough that he was included in the Essential Ernest Holmes. This book is no longer for sale anywhere yet. I'm asking that it be. But in the Essential Ernest Holmes, which is many of you may have a copy of this, on page 43 and 44, Ernest Holmes is discussing this very thing. And he goes on to say that the idea that Coué was saying, that Ernest Holmes puts, that I should say Jesse Jennings included in the summary of Ernest Holmes' work, Coué said, this is his axiom, that when the will and the imagination are in conflict, the imagination, not the will, always wins. And so what that means is that we are saying, I want to pick an area of your life that you're affirming gets better and better. And you're knowing that it gets better and better. And that's the will that's doing it. But meanwhile, your imagination goes someplace else. Yes, but what if? And then there was what I was doing today. And then maybe it won't happen. And maybe I want my life to be better and better. We have to keep reining ourselves back in. And that's the self-realization project that we're all on. I'm thinking about the limit of our understanding, and my daughter told me a story just a few days ago. Many of you may have an ornament that Ruthie Wagner had on her tree. There were many to choose from. And so I gave one to my daughter, who very much appreciated Ruthie Wagner's Christmas at her house and all of that. And so she took one of the ornaments, and last week she put it on her tree. And so it was a new ornament, and so Annie, my 4-year-old granddaughter, said, "Where does that come from?" And she explained that Ruthie Wagner, it used to be on Ruthie Wagner's tree. And India, I don't think, meant to, but she said, and she died. So the 4-year-old says, "What is died? What does that mean?" So unexpectedly, she launched into an explanation of that in whatever came through for her that a 4-year-old might understand. She's in another place, I think, is one of the words she may have used. So Annie summarized this by saying, "I think she's in a place really far away, and it would take me a long time to walk there." Which I love. But what Annie is doing is she's explaining this difficult concept at the level of her understanding. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we all do. Our level of understanding may be different, but we explain to ourselves what happens, whether it's in my dream, whether it's what someone has said to me, whether it's just something that happened. I'm explaining it to myself at the level I understand. And so that there comes within me this desire to know more, to be better and better and bigger so I understand more deeply. And that is what we're talking, that's self-realization. And the only way I know to do this is to go within myself. Now, because of that galloping, just sitting is not my best way. And it's the reason I write what I do. Because by writing something, it forces me to slow down. There is only so much I can write. Even if I put it on my phone, there's only so fast I can type. And so it slows me down. I don't know about anyone else, but that idea of writing it, and I find when I write diary entries or I do a gratitude journal, whatever I'm writing, I can be thinking about what I'm going to say as my fingers are writing out the words, and I hear myself editing before I actually write the word. I really, really am intrigued by that. I will change an adjective in my mind. And so that kind of editing, but that is concentration. I can't write and do that without having my mind focused on that one thing. So for me, this is what works. But in order to be that I am going to be a different person tomorrow than I am today, I'm going to be. It's simply because we're changing. And I want every day and every way to be better and better. That is what I want. It is my desire. It is my will. And I'm choosing to allow my imagination to go there to that place by keeping myself in that spot. You know, Ernest Holmes reminds us when he talks about Coué and what he did in self-realization. He says that this technique is based on many, many things that have already been written. And one of them is in the Hebrew Bible, so it's in Proverbs, where it is written, "As a man thinks, so he is." And Jesus is the one who said, "It is done unto you as you believe." And so this believing part, what we really believe, is stored within our own individual way of being. In the book review that we were doing before this class, Ernest Holmes' seminar lectures, he is saying that none of us can truly imagine all of the life that is out there. He said there is, but everything has God within it. Everything is an expression of God, both of those things that we see and those things that we don't see. And he talks about this degree of livingness that we see, and he said, and I don't assume that this level that I am is the top of the heap. Just as I see myself with more aliveness than a tadpole, I know that there is more beyond where I am. I don't know what it is. Jesus also said, in my house are many mansions. And he didn't just mean levels of consciousness. He meant ways of being. And that is, and Ernest Holmes calls Jesus the greatest man who's ever lived. And it's his consciousness and the way he expressed that Christ within him so completely and so thoroughly. And so as I'm thinking about the times we live in and the challenges that I think many of us feel, whether or not it is that we're able to affect all of those or feel that we can affect all of those outcomes, I believe that no matter who we are, where we are, and how we are, by thinking and by knowing that every day gets better and better, I can know that to the degree that I can, and I add to the greater good. And I invite all of us to contribute to the greater good, simply by affirming that daily, maybe more than once a day, especially if something comes in and crowds out your way of being. I literally turn away from things a lot because I don't want to go there, wherever there is that I'm choosing not to go. I'm choosing to know. It's not that I don't want to know what happens. It's not that, but I don't want that feeling. I don't want that feeling of, ain't it awful? Because nothing is ever that within me. Within me, all is well. God is, I am, and that is what I want to celebrate within my heart. And anything I can do to help you and you and you and you, I want to do that too. And see, when we help, and I think that's one of the values of volunteering. I've probably said that more times than I can imagine I have. The value of volunteering is that it takes you out of yourself. It absolutely does, because you're spending time doing for someone, and you're doing it for yourself. I recognized that the very first time I actually did it. I had this warm fuzzy. My feet hurt, and I was ready to sit down, but I felt so warm fuzzy. And those kinds of things are what we can do right now. I know one of our church members who told me a couple of days ago that she was going to be busy this afternoon because she was taking bags of dog food to animal shelters because she has a dog and she cares about that and wants to do that. And she was thinking of taking something else to a different place. That's what we do. What comes to us in our individual way, and they come. If you ask the question, the answers come. And that's what we do. And each of us finds those ways. I know that many of us are volunteering in the kitchen. They're volunteering in the office and helped out Elaine in her wonderful event this last Sunday. And it really is an amazing opportunity to just give of yourself. And that's one of the ways I think we self-realize, because we learn more about ourselves. And so I'm still contemplating my dream. And I know that it comes to me just the same way the talk title comes to me, just the same as other ideas that I'm looking for come to me, because I ask. Our prayers are answered. and they're answered in a variety of ways. But I do know that it is all God and it is all good, no matter what the appearances are. I have come to believe that. And so when something happens that my first thought is, well, that doesn't seem so good, that my next thought is, but I'll find out. I'll figure it out. And that is the message today. That is how we self-realize. We get beyond appearances and step into that wonderful grace that is, God is all there is. I thank you for your attention very much. Love you. So I think we are going to have a wonderful selection from the wonderful Elise now. Does that come first? Yes, sir. All right. And so Mr. Dave is going to pass the plate around as Miss Elise does our beautiful music. Oh, I'm skipping a step. So my imagination went beyond what I was willing to do. So there are many ways that we can give, and that is an important thing to remember. You may put something right in the plate today. I give online because it works better for me. But I know we have great, great ways to do it. The QR code, we have calling the number that is outside that we will see. You can give that, you can text it to that givingness. And you can also go online to our website, which is an easy way to do it. I think I've done it in all of those ways, just so I could say I did. But my preference is to do it online. So however you give, I invite you to put your gift or your hands to your heart as you say the affirmation, I love. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all of those who give and all of those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I give my gift with love, and so it is.
This song is called I Walk Away, and it's by Eddie Watkins Jr.
Every morning, the light keeps getting brighter as I wake up to the truth. Every day, I'm feeling so much lighter, and the world seems fresh and new. What I was taught and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Each day I start anew, and so I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to so much sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every morning brings a new beginning. By grace, another day to be. I awaken to the sun on me shining lighting for me to see. Things that I sought and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Of yesterday I'm letting go. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the lesson that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to so much sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Today is the day I walk away.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Elise. So, does anyone have a question or you have a prayer request? Do you have anything you want to just comment? We often have some of those. There's Ken, right there. You need to speak into the microphone.
Good morning, and
Good
thank
morning.
you so much. It was beautiful. I have a prayer request for a dear cousin of mine. Her name is Tammy. She is suffering from a severe case of flu, but she has a severe case of asthma and a lung problem. And this has been it's been with her for the last 5 or 10 years.
Yes.
So she was, let's just say she was at death's door 2 weeks ago. And the prayers brought her back. So if you could just say a prayer for her.
What is her name again?
Her name is Tammy.
Hattie?
Tammy McDowell. And she is on the road to recovery, but let's just say it was touch and go for all the family back east.
Is there anyone else that has a prayer request for health? Right down here.
Can we add Lois to that list?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you for saying that. Lois Toran. Yes.
Hi, yes, I have a prayer request for a very dear friend. I don't want to use his name because I can't right now.
Sure.
It's not generally known. He's been diagnosed with throat cancer, and he is a magnificently dynamic person who has such beautiful work that he's doing in the world, and I would like prayers for him.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Anyone else?
I have a friend who's still having a mental health crisis. I'd like to throw her into the mix. I don't want to say her name. Thank you.
Yes, okay. And if there's any of the rest of you all that have someone in mind that maybe you're not willing to share at this moment, put their idea, their name in this consciousness and let us all know together what we're knowing for health and healing. So I breathe in a breath of God, and I exhale all of those things that I don't want or need as I open my heart and mind to the idea that God is love, God is wholeness, completeness, and full realization of all that is good and wholesome and healthy. And so I say these words from the I am, because there's only one. There's only one thing going on, and it is all God. And so as I know that wholeness, I allow the words of my heart, the meditations of my soul to know as I say. There is this wonderful whole power that surges through all of creation. I feel that power in me now, and I allow that power to serve not only me as an individual, to reach out beyond me, because every living soul has that power, that energy of creation flowing, constantly flowing. So I know that any blocks to that flow are simply washed away. Just like the flow of water down the river moves through any obstructions. They simply move to the side as we allow that presence, that flow, that energy of spirit to carry that wholeness from ourselves to beyond all that we love. There is only one. No matter where we are, no matter what location, but in the mind of God, we are all one. It is whole. It is absolutely perfect as we're knowing in the mind of God. Any sadness, any regret, any worry, we allow to simply drift away. There's no room for anything but perfection and wholeness. So I take this goodness, this love of God for all of creation, and I move it into my heart, and I energize my own consciousness with the idea that it radiates from all of us to all people. There is a power that lifts us all up beyond our imagining. And so we allow ourselves to simply float on that love and consciousness, knowing this wholeness in this moment, in this time, and knowing that it happens here and now. I am really grateful to know that this power is more than any one individual. It is greater than anything we imagine. And I allow that greater and greater and greater power to be the power that fires the healing, the wholeness, and the sure and swift resolution of all that is blocking any one of us in any way. So as I breathe in one more time, allowing that feeling of wholeness to settle within me, in deep gratitude, I know that this word is already settled and true in the mind of God as I release and say, and so it is. Does anyone else have a comment or a request? I thank you all for being here very much. I appreciate your attention, and I appreciate your prayers for those who are named. It is a wonderful thing to give ourselves to another in some way. So let us all go forth and multiply our prayers and our goodness everywhere we go in this season and beyond. And so it is.